are glad that you are with us. This is Good Morning Kenya, and my name is Vivian Degwa. Now we get direct into our next segment, and today being a Tuesday, we have Entrepreneurship Tuesday. And today I will be joined, or rather I am joined by Joyce Wamahio. She is the CEO, Supreme Cargo Handlers, and we will be looking at imports and exports in this particular, in this country. And we're going to be looking at the documentations and everything around imports and exports. Madam Joyce, welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you so much, Vivian.
Your day has started off well?
I thank God that the day was fine. Yes.
All right. When we're talking about cargo handling, if you may just roughly just take me through the activities that go on.
Cargo handling, thank you, Vivian. Cargo handling is a wide scope of exercise that entails from down from the source of the cargo. Goes through the projects and the process and the paperwork up to the end of where that cargo reaches the consumer. It entails, it starts, say, from the manufacturers or the service providers of the cargo itself. The cargo is both human, service and products. So goes all through the paperwork involved until it reaches now Vivian, who is the consumer of that cargo. So it's an elaborate process. It can take us a whole day to discuss about the cargo handling process.
We cannot finish talking about it within the given time right now. All right, thank you for just elaborating that. And maybe what are the main exports from Kenya, and what are we importing more as we speak right now?
Thank you, Vivian. Way back in the KBC, they are happy when you ask that question because this is what is covered in the KBC, or the lower primary, the exports from Kenya. It's in the public domain. We have the coffee, we have the tea, we have the floriculture, we have the horticulture, and currently we have the human resource. It's an export from this country. Most countries from the east or even from the west who have found themselves in dire need of the human resource have roped in Kenya as a service provider. We've seen Namibia taking up nurses from Kenya. We've seen UK taking up nurses in US. We've seen the southern, we've seen the west, the eastern side of the world. This is countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Dubai taking up services of security, house cleaners or house managers. So the services that Kenya exports cuts across both products and services.
What about the imports? What are we importing more?
In terms of balance of trade, Kenya imports and basically also exports. In terms of imports, each country where we have the multilateral or bilateral talks have a designated product or service that Kenya imports. And it is also based on the geographical position of that country. Go to a country, our neighboring countries like Tanzania, we have a lot of maize. Malawi, a lot of maize coming from Malawi. Go to Uganda, persons in Thika have found a good ground for collecting raw materials from raw materials for processing the animal feeds. Countries like Dubai, Japan, and India are good manufacturing countries that have found a domain here in Kenya, whereby their products that are manufactured in those countries are imported here. China is good in electrical business. India is good in medical and hospitality business. Japan is good in automobile. So we have a wide range of products that are imported. Go to in terms of garments, like the nice dress you're wearing, it comes from India. So we have different countries bringing into this country different products that are designated to meet the consumer needs of this country. Yes.
Before I get into someone who wants to get into the business rather, and they want to import some of these things that you've just mentioned, how about we look at the challenges?
True.
what challenges are there when exporting and also when importing some of these products and services as well?
Some Kenyans are known of rushing into making major decisions that touches on importation and exportation without first basically dealing with the research itself. So lack of research, that you do not know what that country needs. You want to rush because your friend tells you that Uganda, there's good source of raw material for manufacturing of the animal feeds. So you just rush without literally going down to the research itself. What will my consumers need from that country? Do you want to bring in a product because your friends brought that product? So some Kenyans have not done research in terms of what to bring into the country, when to bring into the country, and how to bring into the country. The other challenge is lack of funds. In terms of export and importation, finances are not a cup of tea. You must be fully equipped with a lot of funds in terms of importation and exportation. The importation and exportation entails buying those products from those countries. It entails shipping of those products and services from the country of origin to the country of consumption. Those products need to be cleared at the designated ports. If they are containers, they need to be cleared in Mombasa. If they are services, you need to clear them at the airport. So there are capital implications in terms of clearing those products. In terms of logistics, ferrying those products and services from the point of clearing to the point to where your shops or where your stores are. You need, say, a lorry. You need, say, a tuk-tuk. You need, say, a motor rider. So the whole cost implication from the country of manufacture to the country of consumption, the capital implication is not a walk in the park. And you must be prepared. Now, if you are not prepared, like when you're seated in your friends, they will tell you that getting a container of shoes from China takes about 6 million. You rush to look for 6 million. But that was only what we call the FOB, the cost of those products when they are in those countries. Your friends have not told you that they are the cost of the verification, the valuation, the shipping, the clearing, the taxation at the different points of entry until that product reaches here. Why do you have a lot of containers that are being auctioned in Mombasa? Because Kenyans, some persons have not taken it upon themselves to do that now holistic cost implication on the product, what you call now the CIF. That whole costing itself, you need to do the costing itself. So finances is another challenge. The other challenge is documentation. One of my friends tells me that if you need to hide something in a Bible, put some books, because Kenyans will not read. Documentation is not, again, easy. Different countries require different documentation. It was only last year, but we found our neighbor country banning the chicken that had been exported from Kenya to that country. Why? The paperwork was wrong. Different countries have different standards. Of course, all the standards are the same, but different countries require different standards. You need to get clearance from those authorizing bodies that are going to give standards. If you only wake up in the morning and put your chicken in some cages and go to the border, those chicken will be impounded and they'll be destroyed. So you need to take care of documentation. Which documentation require which product? Different products require different documentation. So but when you wake up, when you decide to import or export, it is important, it is imperative that you take care of the documentation that is involved.
And if I may just cut you short on that, where is one getting all this information?
True. Last year, the government collapsed all services in what we call the e-citizen. If anybody wants to import or export, initially different groups had different offices in different geographical areas, making it very hard for importers and exporters to harness all that paperwork. But today, through the e-citizen, if you need clearance from when you're importing, say, the horticulture, you find their portal there. You reply the requirements at that portal. If you require to know what duties will be payable, you find the KRA portal at that site, you know. If you require to import, say, a vehicle from, say, Japan to Kenya, you have those portals within the e-citizen. So today, it has been made easier. Some time back, it was a risky task, correcting all those documents from different offices. Yes.
Okay. I'm sure there's a Kenyan who's watching us right now. They've thought of starting their own business. So for their sake, say I want to start a business whereby I want to bring in kitchenware, or I want to bring in hair. How do I go about it? Where do I start? And maybe, is it as expensive?
Today, it's very, very easy to do business. During the COVID era, the world was brought to a village that we could interact with each other through our phones. If you want to bring in a human hair like the one that you're wearing, today you can tell which country to source those products. Initially, it was not easy because there was not that exposure. Today, most of the traders, either globally, within either Kenya or out of Kenya, have showcased their products within now the general platforms that we have. Visit Google, like an example. You find all manner of prices, all manner of traders. Several countries have their own groups that deals with which products. In the month of February, China is hosting, through the month of February, China on different states is holding different shows for different items. So say you need hair and kitchen items, go to Guangzhou. If you need machinery in terms of the excavators, go to Shenzhen. So different countries have now brought market in here. So from the desk where you are seated, you can now tell where to get your products. Now, after identifying where to get your products, kindly before you leave your seat, identify the market. Who is the designated consumer for my product? Is it the high-end consumer? Is it the medium consumer? Or is it the low-end consumer? How do you price your products? Because other than going to pick up the products, how do you price the products? There's a general formula on how you may decide to price your products. The price of the products is based on several items. The cost of the product, the shipping of that product, the taxation of that product, the VAT against that product, and then you say add about 15% or 20% of your profit. So if you do that math, then you can tell, I imported a microwave at FOB $1. I'll need to add those points for me now to sell to my designated consumer, Joyce, at say $5 per piece. So you need to do a lot of costing. You don't just go and say that I imported one product, I need to sell it at this. Do your paperwork right so that you can tell whether it's viable or not viable. Don't rush to pick products because others are bringing products. Do a competition of your own products so that you see whether it's viable or not. Then once now you have identified the product, you've known which country to, which place to source your product, you've known whom to sell your product, then immediately ship your product. And then follow down the lay-down procedures in terms of the importation or the exportation.
All right. On that note, we take a short break. Don't you go too far. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, thank you.
and we are back on air. Thank you for staying with us. In case you're just joining us, we are looking at imports and exports, and the CEO, Supreme Cargo Handlers, Madam Joyce Wamahio, is in studio with me. Madam Joyce, before we went on that break, we were talking about if I want to start a business, I want to import things in the country to start my business. But how am I sure, or what procedures should I follow in order to ensure that I don't get duped? You know, because I'm not traveling out of the country to go source for these things maybe. I'm here, I'm trying to source for them outside to import them into the country. How do I ensure I am not being played with?
In the past, several traders, both Kenyans and other traders, have fallen prey of scammers that I will showcase my product. Say like Alibaba will showcase the products that they are selling. But when it comes again to delivery of those products, you get something else. It was only late last year that Kenya found itself in the center of a scam, where one Kenyan had decided to sell to a Dutch some gold, and it ended up a different story. So for you as a trader not to be scammed, like we said when we started, do not rush into the process. Kenyans are good in rushing so that you make a kill. But it is not always right that when you rush, you're going to make a kill. At times, you'll be scammed. Because these are not persons that you relate with every day. These are not persons that are within different towns that you can just hop in, go and identify the products you need, and then come back. These are persons that are several miles away. You need several hours to fly in, the travel again because of different issues. So you need literally to prepare yourself. Most of financial institutions in Kenya today have made it very easy. Visit any relationship officer at your financial institution. There are several financial institutions that have the trade finance department. If you are a trader and your bank do not have trade finance department, move into the other bank that will assist you. What is the work of the trade finance department? It is to assist now the traders to move with you, to work with you. They will act as on your behalf. That Vivian has identified some kitchenware from Gwanzu market, and she's seated here in Nairobi. So how does Vivian pick the products from here in Kenya? Some persons have been duped into sending money. You are sent an account. You are said to make a deposit of say 50% so that your product can be manufactured. But that's a trick. A diligent Kenyan knows that manufacturers do not manufacture when you order. They have the manufactured products in store. So they're only waiting for Vivian to come and place her order, and then they supply. So there are different inspecting groups in those countries. I want to take you through a very simple process of how not to be duped.
All right, kindly.
Identify what you need. And you said you need hot pots from that market. Get what you call now a pro forma invoice. The pro forma invoice gives you the price of that product per piece, per carton, and per container. It also gives you the specifications of that item, that it is either 2 kgs heavy, 1 gram heavy. It gives you the specs. It also gives you the composition. There are some items that we cannot import into this country. They may be restricted. So in terms of health, so the pro forma invoice will give you now the pricing. It will give you now the items involved. It will also give you now the quantity of the items. Once you get your pro forma invoice, negotiate. You've been given our pro forma invoice by a shipper in Gwanzu. Negotiate with that shipper, exporter. In terms of discount, in terms of quantity, in terms of specs, what you've realized may be missing from, say, the Kenyan market. The Kenyan market, take a hot pot. we are used to a hotpot, which the handle is a bit just after down the reed. Some others may require the handles that are down. So after you have gotten the pictures of the items that you need, and you realize that you analyze and establish that those items are sellable here in Kenya, and you make now a final commitment. Yeah. You ask your shipper to give you now what we call a commercial invoice. After receiving that commercial invoice, go to your bank. Don't rush. Of course, down there, the footnote, they'll tell you that for us to ship the items to you, prepare the shipment, give us 50% deposit. You do not know that person who is on the other side. You do not know whether they have a manufacturing site or otherwise. These are persons that you're exchanging your discussions over the phone. With a commercial invoice, visit your financial institutions. Sit down with the relationship manager. Today, shipping, importation of products have become a walk in the park. It's very, very easy because you can negotiate when you're seated at your office with your manager on what you need. Give the authority the mandate to import to their relationship manager. How do you do it? That you only pay for the products once they've been inspected, because if they're inspected, what I may have showed you over the picture may not actually be the same price, quality at the point of exportation. We have offices in those countries that deals with purely verification in terms of conformity. Ask your shipper to take those products or to organize with the local inspector to go to their premises and inspect the designated goods that belongs to Vivian. In terms of, say, it's a container road, having, let's say, about 100 pieces of the hot pot. The inspecting company will give what we call a certificate of conformity. That certificate of conformity is like now a check that we've inspected the goods, we've inspected what Vivian ordered, that shipper from Guangzhou. The container has 100 pieces, is what Vivian has asked the shipper to supply. The quality of the hot pots is in tandem with what Kenya Bureau of Standards require, because those standards must conform with the standards that we have in Kenya. Once the inspecting group gives the relationship manager that certificate of conformity, deposit money with the relationship manager. Your manager will write a letter of availability of funds. This is what we call now the letter of credit to the bank of the shipper. The bank of the shipper on the other side, banks will say China Bank. This bank on this side will write to the shipper on that side that we are following instructions from Vivian, who is based here in Kenya, who had given your customer order to supply her with 100 pieces of hotpot. We are holding her funds. We only release those funds once the goods have been given to the shipper. Once the goods have been given to the ship captain, because again, there are chances that goods may be inspected, but between the point of inspection to the point of loading at the ship, they may disappear. So for you now to secure that your goods, again, you're not scammed, ask your bank to only release the funds to the shipper upon production of what we call a bill of lading. Bill of lading is a certificate from the captain of a ship acknowledging receipt of a container number 1234, which Vivian is holding on her hat, said to contain 100 pieces of hot pot, valued at so much. Do you get me, Vivian? So you are not scammed. You can follow now the process of shipping from now, moving goods from the factory to the inspection group, from the inspection group now to the captain, because again, all these people could not be scamming you, because these are established bodies that are not out to make sure that the process is concluded.
Yeah.
Once now you have received a copy of the bill of lading, establishing that your container is within the premises of the docks of the shipping company. Now your bank can now pay the shipper.
Okay.
Using that process, you not become scammed.
You won't be scammed.
But if you wake up in the morning and you are told that Kaide give us a deposit of 50% or 30%, Kaidri is a trader in Kenya, no, smell that as a scammer without to freeze your money. Yes.
So what we're saying is do your due diligence and follow the proper channels, and that way you will not be scammed. Now, what new markets should we be looking at the moment?
In the country, in our neighboring countries, Kenya is advantaged because we are not landlocked. We have countries that are landlocked. We have Uganda.
Yeah.
We have DRC Congo. We have Burundi, and we have, say, Southern Sudan, or even Rwanda. Those are now the new kids on the block. Because the cost of importation into their countries, being landlocked, the cost of importation to their countries becomes quite expensive. So Kenyans should establish the needs from those countries and fill up those gaps. Country like Uganda now, they are still using the DVDs. Kenya, we stopped using the DVDs like 10 years ago. Kenyans should now establish which markets within Uganda are using what product. Look at the importation of mutuba in Kenya.
Yeah.
Kenya being nearer to those countries of origin, we in huge business in terms of mutuba business. Those countries need mutuba. They also need the new clothes from that are manufactured from India, from China. So establish from those countries that are in our neighborhood what they may need and fill in those gaps. That is in terms of exports. In terms of imports, what can we, those are imports, sorry. Now, in terms of exports, what can we import, what can we export in our neighboring countries? There's a huge discussion that is going in terms of exportation of services to to the eastern countries.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the discussions are at the advanced stage so that we control the abuse of the human resource.
Because we've heard of didn't turn out too well, in the Middle Eastern countries.
True. And again, why? Due diligence was not followed. You did not follow through the right bodies for you to establish yourself. If you need to import if you need to export some services, the human resource, go to NIA. They have a whole list of the catalog of the consumers of those products in the alternating countries. So if, say, you intend to send some nurses to Namibia, are those institutions that you intend to send listed within our catalog? So if they are not, then that's a sign of red flag. So even for those countries or for those persons that intend to export some services, before you look for passports and visas, can they do some due diligence of those countries and those companies and those agents so that you do not find yourself vulnerable? There is huge market of services. It's only last week that a CS held released some good news to the Kenyan nurses, of where we have a bilateral discussion between UK and Kenya in terms of the nurses. And what is in the Ministry of Health today have been vetted, so that anybody now who goes into those portals can now get the hard facts. So let Kenyans not rush into exporting some services, the human resource. Let them take time so that they study the markets.
All right.
Yes.
Generally, how do we facilitate trade in this country?
Trade is facilitated by several arms of, by several players, by several stakeholders. We have the government that enacts the policies.
Yes.
In the government, we have bodies like the Kenya Revenue Authority that enacts the taxation, that tells you in terms of if you're importing a vehicle, that vehicle should not be more than 8 years old. It should meet, it should be left-sided, not right-sided. It will tell you what issues to comply. Go to the Kenya Bureau of Standards. It will tell you what standards to observe. Again, do not go and bring products that are substandard. We have seen KEBS banning sugar at the port of Mombasa, banning rice at the port of Mombasa, banning Mtuba clothing at the port of Mombasa. Why? Because people did not go through those bodies to establish the requirements of those bodies. We have bodies like the KPA. So in terms of policy, the government of Kenya have made it easy now to bring in policy papers so that they assist the traders. We also have the regulations that people need to observe. Different regulating bodies have different requirements. The Kenya Bureau of Standards, the KRA, the KFIS, you know, if you're dealing with the horticulture and the floriculture. We have regulations that have been put in place so that you do not again miss the target. Because there's huge market. Allow me to tell you this, Vivian.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia has come up and is in good, it has huge demand of beef and camel meat from Kenya. Chicken, what they call halal. After identifying that Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Qatar have good markets for the beef, the chicken, visit those now regulating bodies. Look at the avocado business, picking up very, very fast.
Yeah, it is.
In China and Pakistan. Look at tea. Pakistan is the number one consumer of our tea. Go to regulating bodies so that they can tell you that for you now to import avocado, you need like what size? How many pieces per hot box, you know? So that again, you do not find your products have not been dealt with. Lastly, we have the taxation element. Because again, to repay ushuru, let us pay our taxes. And in terms of paying the taxation, you need also to know what taxation, whether you're exempted from taxation, whether you also need to pay taxes, which taxes that you need to pay. From September last year, the importance of vehicles, there was a duty element that was added. Initially, there was never the excise tax. Today, there is the excise tax. So establish all those, the how, establish now all those, the how, the where, and the what, so that when you put your feet now on the ground in terms of exporting and importing, you have your facts right. Yes.
Now, on the matter of standardization,
yes,
you know, and also getting to probably maybe identify a Kenyan product. You know, we have the made in Kenya, the stickers.
Yes.
How does one go about, you know, getting that identification?
We have the Kildi offices at South Sea, immediately after, near as you enter the Boma Hotel. The offices is to patent. The offices is to patent. Some time back, Vivian, I'm sure you know that there are some Kenyans, there are some persons who decided to say that to patent the word kyodo.
Yes.
Yet the word kyodo belongs, generically it's from us. That office will patent your product either locally or even internationally. In Nebu last week, the CSID is Bruce's established some soil to manufacture, to aid in manufacturing of the phones.
Yeah.
Do we need to patent? Do we need to patent that soil so that we do not have somebody else saying something else? Yes, we need, so that again, so that we can be proud of the product that we're selling.
Oh, yeah.
For the persons who are going to China, I mean in February this year, there are different stats that have been put there across so that you find also products from China, because it's different towns, different states will showcase the services and products, both the manufactured and the imported. And there's nothing that is proud, Vivian, that getting an item marked made in Kenya.
Yeah.
It makes you proud. Having the color of the flag and that stamp of made in Kenya. Having also the KBC standard, the KBC mark.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you feel patriotic enough. Yeah. Yes.
All right, as we almost come to the end of our discussion, maybe what support are you receiving from the government? By you, I mean the people in the exports and imports business. And what more do you feel should be done by the government?
The government have made it very easy. And in essence, not it's only the government, it's holistic. Both the government and sector players have joined hands to make this process now seamless. We have associations that assist now different traders to identify where to source their products. Say network of women in cosmetics. There is a body of network of women in cosmetics purely dealing with where to get the cosmetic products. Tomorrow, we have a workshop going on in Mombasa of network of women in tourism. That's a body that have been regulated by, that have been mandated from the Ministry of Tourism, assisted by the government, so that you can walk through the prayers in terms of tourism. Different associations have come in to assist each other, because this is not where you can only pray alone. Initially, people used to deal with issues on their own, but now they found it wise now to synergize the group so that you know where and how to source your product. So again, you do not find yourself being abused by those traders. You can control the benefits of these people. You can control now the pricing. If shop A sells this pen at 10 shillings, do not go to shop B selling this pen at 20. That association will tell you, different shops are selling these prices, this item at the foreign prices. So you can always pick what price that you intend to pick. But again, being an astute business person, you're not going for an expensive pen. You're going for a pen that will give you a return at the end of the day. So the government has come in terms of assisting different players, exposing them to different fields. Look at the export processing zone, the export processing council. Periodically, after every 3 months, it will give you a schedule of different markets for different products. In the month of March, there's a program in Namibia of purely of exports from Kenya. So anybody listening who is a fan of KBC Channel 1 and has intentions of doing business in Namibia in the month of March, visit the Export Processing Council website. You find now the whole schedule of the whole year. So that's an effort by the government. In terms of now other groups, our friends, the partners, the associations, you also synergize each other. So the government have been good in terms of giving reads on where people should go. Other persons have also taken up upon themselves so that, again, you source the right product at the right prices. Yes.
Thank you so much for shedding light on this topic that we have had today. Maybe your parting shot?
Finances. Kenyans have found themselves vulnerable in terms of default. Times have been tough last year and this year. Other than giving that, my company will also offer that consultancy service. If you find that the finances, the loans that you currently using, because again you need working capital for you now to import, there's what you call the bridging finances, the top-ups and the buy-offs. So instead of being auctioned for that priceless, I mean that secured item that you've used to secure the working capital, kindly liaise with us so that we can reschedule your own, so that those items that you need to pick to buy from China during the month of February, we can give you a boost in terms of finances on how much you need to go and do what you need so that you can import your products.
All right.
Thank you so
Once again, thank you for gracing our show today. And I am sure that if you are looking into getting into the trade sector and more specifically imports and exports, you have gotten to learn a thing or two from our discussion today. This is where we call it a wrap right here on Good Morning Kenya. My name is Vivian Dagwa. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.